The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, a legendary game where you can fight with swords and magic, explore beautiful biomes, hunt dragons, and find children examining bodies. Wait, what? I decided to try Skyrim in 2026, and this is my journey. And yes, I don't have the anniversary upgrade because I'm broke. The game opened with a simple title card accompanied by beautiful OST. The OST did a great job in elevating the scene, instilling a sense of calm yet wondrous fantastical world. You don't know how you got here, but you have this urge to go and explore the unknown world.
Hey, you! You're finally awake. You were trying to...
Ralof started to give an exposition about the current situation of Skyrim. There's a civil war happening. The major actors were the Stormcloaks led by Ulfric, the Imperial Army led by General Tullius, and the Thalmor. The card stopped and I entered character creation. The character creation had a lot of options, starting with what race you want to play as, and various sliders to modify how your face, hair, and body look. Each race had its own unique abilities that would help you in your adventure. A bit of a spoiler, but I didn't use the unique ability even once, as Battle Cry was some sort of crowd control, and I prefer other CC ability for better immersion. After spending a significant amount of time creating my character, I gave him a suitable name. I walked to the chopping block, accepting my fate when a dragon suddenly came down and saved me from the execution. Finally, I gained control of my character and tried to escape Helgen. I navigated through the burning town while avoiding the dragon. When I got to safety, Ralof cut my bind and told me to look for equipment. I equipped the axe and armor from my inventory, and I noticed there was a carry weight limit at the bottom of the screen. Surely it won't be a problem later, right? It didn't take long for the guards to find us and I had to fight them. Attacking is very straightforward. Left click to use right hand, right click for left hand. You can hold them for power attack. If you don't have anything equipped on your left hand, holding right click will block instead. I easily defeated the enemies and loot them for better gear. This is the main gameplay loop. You enter a dungeon, fight enemies, loot equipments or gold, and get out. The Helgen section is a tutorial to explain all core mechanics of the game to the player. They are combat, looting, lockpicking, and sneaking. In general, the tutorial is well presented. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a mismatch in presenting the information to the player. I like how the game gave this control instruction in the center of the screen and kept the flow smooth. However, when I ran out of stamina, the game decided to put a text block and pause, disrupting the flow of a fight. Anyway, I decided to be a magic swordsman, holding one-handed weapon and magic at the same time. I safely got out to the open world, then was greeted by this dialogue box. I chose no and followed Ralof to Riverwood. On the way to Riverwood, there was this landmark here called the Standing Stones. This is the first standing stones a player can encounter, and it's very useful in guiding them on what kind of playstyle they want to have if they haven't decided yet. I chose the warrior stone to improve my one-handed skill faster. I arrived at Riverwood, a small yet nice and peaceful village. I met Ralof's sister, a very generous person that let me have all her stuff. Then, I was asked to report to the Jarl of Whiterun to get some increased security for Riverwood with a dragon on the loose. On the way, I noticed deers that can run underwater. Huh, looks like the wildlife of Skyrim is quite special. I got this sick kill cam, looted the deer, and continued my journey. Outside of Whiterun, there were people fighting a giant. I helped them a bit and they told me to join the companion. This is one of the world designs in Skyrim, to encourage the player to explore. random events happening on the road to point the player to certain quests or locations. The companions had to wait though, as there's the pressing matter with dragons. I reported to the Jarl and he told me to meet his court magician. Then I was tasked to retrieve the Dragonstone in Bleakfall's Barrow. I figured the quickest way to reach the place is by fast traveling to Riverwood and continuing from there. You can fast travel to any location you have discovered and you will use this feature a lot. I have some contention with this feature, but I'll elaborate later. We'll put a pin on that. As always, the wilderness of Skyrim was harsh. I fought wolves and bandits on the way. I entered the dungeon and my objective, the Dragonstone, was in the deepest part of the dungeon, the boss room if you will. To get there, I had to fight various enemies like bandits, spiders, and living mummies called Draugr, avoid traps, and solve puzzles. The puzzle was very easy. I just had to match the stone symbols and pull a lever. In the boss room, I found cryptic writings on the wall which turned out to be words for Dragon South. No way to use that now though, so I beat the boss and retrieved the Dragonstone. I returned to the Dragon's Reach and gave the stone to Farengar. Suddenly, a report came from Irileth of a dragon attack. Dragon was no small matter, so I had to prepare. I enchanted my axe with frost damage, bought some potions, and leveled up. Leveling up your character can be done at any time. On level up, you can choose to increase your max health, magicka, or stamina. On top of that, it will also restore them to full, so it can come in handy in the middle of a fight. I focus on health and stamina to last longer in fights and launch more power attacks. Other than increasing stats, leveling up also gives you perk points to unlock skills. The skill feature is probably my favorite system in Skyrim. The more you use a skill, the better you are at it. Makes sense. The higher you go on any skill tree, the stronger the perks will be. The different perks can give different effects on how you interact with the world. You can unlock more combat moves, your attacks can have additional powerful effects. It adds flavor to the simple combat of Skyrim. You can craft more powerful equipment, unlock more ways to interact with NPCs, and there is always something to look forward to, and it is fun to play and level up your skill. Back to the dragon attack. I arrived at the watchtower and fought Mir Mulnir. The battle was quite easy with the help of the guards, chipping away at the dragon's HP with their arrows and distracting it. I defeated the dragon with his cool animation and absorbed his soul. I finally unlocked the South, special magic of the dragons. My first South was Fools. It could blast enemies away and it was very useful crowd control ability. The guards were surprised to see me absorbing the dragon's soul, claiming that I was a dragonborn, something out of a legend. I didn't know what that meant, but I had to report to the Jarl. When entering Whiterun, I was stopped by these gentlemen. They said they were searching for a woman. It looked very serious to me because they were so locked in and didn't notice the thundering sound in the sky. Back at Dragon's Reach, the Jarl told me that the Greybeards were summoning me. It was a good opportunity to learn more about what Dragonborn is and how to use the South. He also gave me a bodyguard before I left. And so, my trip to Ivarstead began. This was my favorite exploration of my playthrough. I got to see a mysterious floating object, this peculiar terrain, and most importantly, the beautiful scenery of Skyrim. The different biome when I entered a new region was very bizarre. The change of color from cold green conifer trees with warm autumn-like yellow trees was amazing. Along the way, I met a woman who was interrogated by soldiers with familiar attire. It turned out they were looking for a red guard woman, the same thing asked to me in Whiterun. It's not only the game reminding the player about a side quest I have, but also showing how alive the world is. Events aren't isolated to a single city, they can impact any NPC anywhere on the map. These connections create an illusion that the characters are living, that they have their own routine and their own goals. Anyways, I arrived at Ivarstead, found my way to High Hrothgar, and met the Greybeards. They taught me about the way of the voice, using powers with caution, and some new shouts. To proceed with the main quest, I had to get the Horn of Jurgen Windcaller. So, I fast traveled to Whiterun Stable and took a car to Morthal and continued to Ustengrav. Now, I'll be honest, I think the fundamentals of Skyrim dungeons are boring. The dungeons are linear. You just have to go from the entrance and make your way to the exit while fighting a bunch of enemies along the way. So, how did Skyrim try to alleviate this problem? The answers are gimmicks and environmental storytelling. The gimmick is the less effective way. It adds a little bit of flavor to the dungeon. For example, this timed gate with movement sensor activation in Ustengrav, which you need whirlwind sprint shout to pass through. Or a fireball trap in Skyhaven Temple that can easily be deactivated by using Become Ethereal Shout. But for environmental storytelling though, it's a more effective way, and a good storytelling can keep me engaged while exploring a dungeon. And there was one dungeon that did this very well later in the playthrough. Back to the Horn, I arrived at the final room but found nothing, only a note telling me to go to Riverwood. I met Delphine, a member of the Blades. I needed to prove to her that I was the Dragonborn, so we agreed to meet at Kynesgrove. I fast traveled to Whiterun Stable and took a car to Windhelm and continued to Kynesgrove. There I saw Alduin resurrecting a dragon. So I defeated the dragon, absorbed his soul, and proved myself to Delphine that I was indeed Dragonborn. Delphine suspected that the Dalmors were behind the dragon catastrophe, so she asked me to infiltrate their embassy. First I had to contact her friend in Solitude, so I fast traveled to Whiterun Stable and took a car to... Okay, so I think the strongest point of Skyrim is its world and exploration, and the existence of the stables kinda undermines it. Now I don't mind fast traveling to an already discovered location, but immediately teleporting to a new city makes the player skip the changing biomes and the random encounters. If I could just take a car to Ivarstead, then I wouldn't have that experience of exploring Skyrim. Of course, anyone can play however they want, but if you ever try to play Skyrim for the first time, I suggest not to rely on the stables too much. Anyways, I went into Solitude and met Delphine's contact. I gave him some of my items to be smuggled and I went to the embassy. I was greeted by the ambassador Elenwen, incited a distraction, and slipped through the party. I collected my smuggled gear and began searching for information. I almost died fighting some Dalmors, and here's when the full HP restore on level up came in handy. I found Elenwen's files, freed a dude, and escaped the embassy. I thought the escape would go smoothly, but there was a frost troll right before the exit. It was more of a menace than a dragon because it dealt a lot of damage in a single hit. I tried my best, but alas, I died. I tried again and died again. And again. And again. One time I finally killed the frost troll, but Etienne died instead. It didn't sit right for me, so I reloaded my save to make sure everyone survived. First attempt, Etienne was accidentally caught in my shot and didn't survive. Second attempt, everything went well until the troll one-tapped Malborn. Okay, third time's the charm. I talked to Etienne to delay him from jumping down the ledge. Now the troll is out of position, so I got behind the troll and blasted it away. After making sure Etienne was fine, I started swinging my mace. Malborn almost gave me a heart attack, so I quickly went to the troll's face to shield him. And finally, I landed the last hit to the troll. I gathered some loot, exited the cave, and was relieved to find everyone safe. So, I returned to Riverwood and report to Delphine. I told Delphine about Elenwen's files, and she seemed thrilled to find Esbern alive. Next destination was Riften. Before leaving, I upgraded my mace and found this funny bug. The status said I got the destruction buff from Thalmor Rope, but I did not have it equipped. Just outside Riften, I was stopped by a guard asking for bribes. I managed to persuade him though and entered the city just fine. Riften is a unique city because it's not really controlled by the Jarl or some sort of official local government. Rather, the Thieves Guild is the one who handles the business here. Before, you can just smash your way through. But in this city, you have to negotiate. Bribe the guards, use your speechcraft. Stealing is normal and even rewarded. It perfectly captured the corruption of the city and I love it. Anyways, I went into the Red Waste, rescued Esbern, and went back to Riverwood. We discussed finding a way to defeat Alduin while Lydia just stood there like a custom character in a cutscene. Esbern said the solution should be written on Alduin's wall, so we went to Skyhaven Temple. Over there was a dragon attacking Forsthorn camp and the battle looked pretty cool with fireballs shooting up to the sky. I got careless and died once, but on the next attempt, I easily defeated the dragon with 4 of us ganging on him. And here comes the carry weight restriction. This was such an infuriating system. My movement was significantly reduced and I couldn't fast travel. With this system existing, I was constantly managing my inventory and I wasted a lot of time just on the menu. So I had to discover the Skyhaven first to unlock its fast travel, drop a couple of items and drank a strength potion. Then I teleported to Whiterun to sell my things. Definitely not a fan of this. Other than that, Skyhaven Temple was a breeze and I learned that I could fight Alduin with Dragonrend Shout. To know more about Dragonrend, I asked Arengir for details. But he told me I better ask their leader at the top of the mountain. I followed him outside and he was so slow. This part reminded me of that one Dragon Ball GIF. The Greybeards taught me a new shout and I made my way up the mountain. There, I discovered that the leader was a dragon. Parturnax wanted to see if I was a worthy Dragonborn and tested me for a bit. Lydia was very excited though. I passed the test, learned Fire Breath, and greeted Parturnax with it. Before telling me about the Dragonrend, he decided to float away to the heavens. And it took a while. Apparently, I could learn Dragonrend with the help of an Elder Scroll to look back in time when the heroes of the past used it to fight Alduin. So, I came down to High Hrothgar and found Arengir aura farming. He told me to start from College of Winterhold to find the Elder Scroll. In the college library, I found a lid on the scroll. Someone called Septimus knew where the scroll was, so I had to find him. I climbed down a cliff, triggered thalassophobia for a bit, and arrived at his hideout. Septimus was a quirky guy, but his knowledge was legit. He gave me some devices and told me to go to Aftan to get the Elder Scroll. And this, my dear viewer, is my favorite dungeon. Aftan started with an icy mine shaft. Going a bit deeper, I heard someone talking to themselves, so I stayed alert. Before long, I entered what appeared to be a dwarven ruin. The main enemies of this dungeon were these robots created by dwarven technology, at least in the beginning. I found this notebook which belonged to a researcher. It seemed there was a research team diving this dungeon. Continuing my exploration, I found the owner of that voice from the start of the dungeon. Unfortunately, he was hostile, so me and Lydia had to dispatch him. Going deeper revealed more of the architecture of this ruin. Stone rooms with a mix of machinery, metal pistons still working to this day, and guarded by dwarven automatons. The inner room had a more pristine look. The light was still on, and the metallic ornament still shined golden, as if the structure was frozen in time. However, this clean, calming look felt wrong, eerie. Just around the corner, I found a bloodstain on the ground. Following its direction, I found a body. The notebook revealed that the research team was hunted by something other than the automatons. They were running from it. A platform collapsed and this guy was forced to leave his friends behind. Unfortunately for him, he was struck by an arrow and succumbed to his wound. And it's true, there was an arrow stuck in his shoulder, a Falmer arrow. I continued, found the collapsed platform, and I went further down the spiral walkway and finally got the reveal of the monster. A grey humanoid beast thing called Falmer. I don't know what that thing is, to be honest with you, but it's pretty weak. I got attacked by another one, but I easily killed it. That whole sequence was amazing. The variety and story of Aftan were so good. It kept me engaged in exploring the dungeon. I wasn't worried at all with how powerful I was, but the mystery was enough to make me pay attention to the dungeon. Anyways, I reached the boss room and fought a dwarven centurion. Definitely not as cute as other centurions I know. Lydia caught its attention, so I could peacefully attack it until it broke. In the end, I found the remaining members of the research team. Unfortunately, they were hostile, so me and Lydia had to dispatch them. Deja vu. I entered Black Ridge, got amazed by what I saw, and finally retrieved the Elder Scroll. I quickly returned to the throat of the world and read the Elder Scroll. The time fracture allowed me to see and learn Dragonran from the past. When the flashback sequence finished, I was surprised to see Alduin right above me. This is it, time to bring this lizard down. I used Dragonran on him. When he landed, I chucked a bunch of potion to buff myself and started swinging. Alduin was tough, so the fight continued for a while. But then, I noticed something strange. My movement was slow. Too slow in fact. I wondered, is this a bug? I checked my active effects and found nothing wrong. Did I drink too many potions too quickly and triggered some kind of integer overflow? But the potion's value wasn't that big, so it couldn't be it. Or maybe it's because of Alduin's shout. Maybe he had a slow debuff or something. But there was nothing on my status, so it can be that as well. Maybe this was a scripted event or something, because the Dragonborn used Dragonran's shout and it lore-wise also damaged him or something, I don't know. This fight was painful. It felt like forever to beat him because of this bug. After a while, I finally beat Alduin and he ran away. I thought that if the fight was over, I will get my movement speed back. But no, it's still there. I tried reloading other save, but it didn't work. I thought maybe there was a glitch during time travel and reload there. It also didn't work. I tried reloading an even earlier save and somehow the bug carried over. I tried going to main menu. I tried restarting my client. All of them didn't work. At this point, I gave up. Let's call it a day and continue tomorrow. Maybe the rest of the playthrough will turn into Skyrim no walking. So I ended my recording and went to rename my file. Oh, my caps lock was on. Turns out this whole time it wasn't a bug. I locked myself into walking. I'm sorry Todd for ever doubting you. Here comes the final stretch of the game. I asked Jarl Grove to lend me his castle to trap a dragon. He was hesitant though with the civil war going on, so I held a peace treaty. I invited Ulfric and Tullius to High Hrothgar, and after everyone gathered, we commenced the conference. Although Lydia embarrassed me a little because she didn't want to sit. After a long negotiation, finally a truce is achieved. But Esbern had something to tell me.
I've discovered who the Greybeard's leader really is. Not just anyone,
What?
but the right
No
hand of
way!
Thorgrim.
That's
Many
crazy!
atrocities during the ancient times.
I decided to ignore Esbern because Partunas was pretty chill. I'm sure he won't cause any trouble. With everything prepared, I easily trapped a dragon and asked him to show me where Alduin was. So he took me to Skuldavn. As the final dungeon of the main story quest, Skuldavn wasn't that different from any other dungeons. The two dragons and the dragon priest at least put some flair of finality to it. After defeating the dragon priest, I entered the portal to Sovngarde. Finally, this is it, the final showdown. I passed Sun's test to get access to Hall of Valor, and together with the heroes of the past, we challenged Alduin for the last time. The final battle was fine, as I had multiple allies to distract Alduin. After swinging for a while, I finally landed the final blow and defeated Alduin. Sun sent me back to Skyrim, and I was greeted by a bunch of dragons celebrating the end of Alduin's reign. And finally, Skyrim is safe. Well, that's it. I managed to beat Skyrim in 2026. Even if the dungeons are hit or miss, and combat is too simple and straightforward, Skyrim is a game that emphasizes the freedom of the players to explore its world, to have your own playstyles, and to seek and complete any kind of quest. Here is the list of quests that I had gathered during my playthrough. I could, at any point, just pause the main story and go start any other quest. Well, there's still so much to explore, but I have to say, it was fun and I really enjoyed playing it. Except there is one more thing I need to do.
Fine day to you, friend. Maybe you die with a sword. We're a small village, but we work hard.
The Riverwood Trader is everything you... Some may call this junk. Me, I call them treasures.
Thank you so much for watching the video. I'm planning to make this channel as a variety game kinda channel, and I already have some ideas for the next videos. However, they are mostly Skyrims for now, so if you have any feedback, please let me know in the comments. While you wait for the next video to come out, why not check out this interesting playlist? Once again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys on the next one.